Hello, 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 everyone. Today I finally have Debra. Remember, I don't know if you remember, maybe it was 4 weeks ago, Debra, or 5 weeks ago, something like that. Debra was supposed to come on, and then she has just had a barrage of visitors. And it's just been family, family, family. It's been wonderful for her. And so we put this off until she had a little bit of breathing space and rest after all her family visit. um, Now, Debra is, as I've said in my little post this morning, she's one of my favorite people in the dream team. And, but, we do so much together, and Debra has done so much for our community. So first, Debra, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
All right. So first and foremost, I am a child of God. I am a mother of 6, a grandmother of 19, and a great-grandmother of 11. And I am originally from New Brunswick, Canada, moved to Alberta, Canada in the early 2000s for work. And then in 2018, I moved to Mexico.
So lovely. So lovely. And so did you get into the business, Debra, like in Mexico or before you went to Mexico?
I started the business February 9th, 2017. And it's because of my business that gave me the ability to be able to live in Mexico.
Oh, nice, nice. And I just love that, you do our, big meetup in Mexico for us, and I got to attend it this year, and
Yes.
it was so special. So it's something I'm doing every year. Let me tell you, I am not going to miss it, come hell or high water.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to this year's already.
I know, it's so exciting. We made so many amazing connections last November. And even though you and I and Debbie Boudreau, who I had on earlier, we had connected many, many times online.
Yeah.
Rarely had met one another.
I know.
These live person events that we get to do, that we actually get to hug each other and, go out and enjoy, an evening and learn together during the day and all that kind of thing. So,
and when we meet each other in person after being online with each other for so many years, it's like we're just meeting long lost family that we haven't seen personally to hug them in a long time, because it's like we know them, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's just go back a little bit to when you first started. Can you just sort of say, like, was there a moment or some kind of experience that sort of, and you saw an ad or something, like what brought you and attracted you to this business?
I apologize for all my animals here.
Oh, you love
actually animals. In 2015, my position of many years was eliminated. And I was so confident I was going to get work that I thought, well, they gave me a wonderful severance package. So I could survive for a couple of years, but I thought I'll take a year off work, which is something I never did because I had 6 kids. I had to work. There was no maternity leave when I had children. You'd have a baby on a Friday and back to work on a Monday. So, there was no maternity leave and no money if you didn't go to work. So I had to work. And so I thought, I'm going to take a year off work. Never had it, only when I was sick, going through treatments and things. That's not a vacation. That's not time off to me.
Yeah.
And then pay off some bills. And then, in a year's time, I'll start looking for work. I'll get work, no problem. I was really good at what I did. I got lots of letters of recommendations from the company, and, I'll have no problem. Well, I started looking in a year later, and I got lots of interviews, and I think they felt they had to interview me because they knew me, because I worked with them, these other companies I worked with, that was part of my other job. So got the interviews, but you know what? Each one of them said, how long do you plan on staying in the workforce? Well, you know, I was 60 years old at the time. Yeah. So it was like, yeah, I get it. I understand, you know, being an accountant business person, I understand that you don't want to hire anybody over 60. They all want the young people, 20, 30, 40 years old, coming out of university that can give them 20, 30 years of service or more, right?
They're looking for that longevity out of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because training's very expensive to train somebody new in a company.
Yeah,
So
that's really what such a good point, that, you know, once you have to look for work again in your later years, it's not as easy to find a job anymore, is it?
no, like it isn't. And, you know, I thought, well, I could become a Walmart greeter. But I
No.
thought, you know, I lived in Fort McMurray and it gets minus 52 sometimes in the winter. And I thought, do I really want to go out making minimum wage to go in that cold? You know, I have to run my vehicle half an hour before I can go get in it. It's so cold. And I thought, try to look for something online. So that's when I started looking. And believe me, I used to work on a computer 12 to 14 hours every day, but I had no idea how to run social media. I didn't want to learn it, but I was sort of pushed into checking things out on social media. And I just saw this ad go by, but it went by for months. The same ad kept going by my page for months. And then finally I said, okay, I get it. It's this one. So
it's a sign.
Right? Because I prayed hard, you know, because I live by faith. So
Yeah.
anyways, I clicked on the ad and it was like, oh my gosh, I know this will work. I haven't got a clue how I'm going to do it because I don't know how to put a picture on Facebook, and they're talking about Facebook, and I'm thinking, great. But anyways, I knew I could do it. I could see the numbers, and I knew it was legit because at the time they told me I'd get a T4 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
No MLM company does that. You don't get anything. You know, you can claim it if you want, you don't if you don't, right?
Right.
And they said, you know, you don't have to stack products, you don't have to go door to door selling, like everything's online. And, you know, we have a system that'll work. And I thought, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do
That's
this.
what the wonderful part about the drop shipping that is incorporated, and all the automation and that too. Yeah.
And not any of my previous education really had anything to do with this business, because they said they'll train me step by step. So I thought, I can do this. Okay. You know, you're never too old to learn, but I thought, you know, I got a big learning curve to do, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it 110%, not 100%. I'm going to give it 110%. I'm going to make this work for me.
Oh, that's awesome. So did you have any fears at all? Like, I mean,
all kinds.
and challenges?
All kinds.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like I say, the picture on Facebook was my biggest thing, because I was a person that kept the duct tape on the camera on my computer.
Oh, okay.
I kept the duct tape on it. And even though my daughter said, Mom, nobody can see you. I said, I know, because I got that duct tape on there. They can't see me. And she said, no, Mom, unless you have your camera. I said, I don't care. The duct tape's staying. So anyways, of course, I had to remove the duct tape because we did a lot of Zoom calls and things. But thank God I had a 12-year-old grandson that loved his grandma so much. And he had so many patience with me. And I said to him, Tacey, honey, can you help Grandma put my picture on Facebook? Sure, Grandma. He said, you have one? I said, no. He said, well, that's your first thing. You know, you got to take your picture. And I said, great. I don't take my picture. But anyway.
You were learning from scratch.
I was learning from scratch. But, you know, I thought, I can do this. I can do this. But, you know, as my business progressed, you know, another thing they told me was you have to put your business on your phone, you know, because it's a mobile business. You don't have to sit at home in front of your computer. You can take your phone and you can do your business when you're out and about, you know, vacation or whatever. You can do it from anywhere. So I said, okay, but I only make phone calls on my phone. Like, so anyways, Very old school I was. Even though I worked on a computer 12 to 14 hours a day, it was database programs, income tax programs, accounting programs, anything to do with business. But so anyways, I put it on my phone, got it on my phone, and I get the training opened and I'm clicking on it, clicking on it, clicking on it. Nothing happening. I thought, yep, they've kicked me out because I'm too old and too stupid, right? Kicked me out. So I did that for 2 days, Susan. 2 days I clicked on my phone. And finally I got the nerve to ask the question. So I always tell people when they come in, don't ever be afraid to ask the question and don't think it's stupid, because it held me back days because I didn't want to ask questions.
Don't keep struggling through things day after day after day. Just ask anyone. Yeah.
So I called Darren. It was in the days that you could call. I called Darren and I said, have you guys kicked me out? He said, is this Debra? And I said, yes. And he said, are you on your computer or your phone? And I said, my phone. He said, okay, take your index finger, put it to the bottom of your screen and push up lightly. Don't lift your finger. I said, I didn't know my phone could do that. So, I mean, I had a lot of struggles. I'm not kidding you, when I started. So once, you get over it. But that was the day I said, I'll never wait 2 days, because I stressed myself out. I was worried. I was scared to ask the question. I was scared that they, I had the fear that they kicked me out. I don't know why. But, that's one thing that won't happen. If we do everything legally, we won't get kicked out, right?
No, as long as we stick by our own rules, and that's
right. That's right. So yeah,
Oh, that's such a cute story, though. I love that.
Little struggles.
Let's talk about now. So what does your life look like now? You're in Mexico.
I'm very active in my church here in Mexico, which I absolutely love to do. We do a lot of helping the homeless and the communities that, there's no unemployment, there's no retirement plans, there's nothing like that here. So we work with a lot of the communities here to help them. But my business works when I'm sleeping, I get up in the mornings and I get a notification that I have a new business partner in my group. And it's like, wow, so once you get your business built to the, to where, you've got people coming in and your people are working the business and they're doing the same thing that you did, you can't stop it. It just goes. It goes and it goes and it goes. It's like the Energizer Bunny. It just goes and goes and goes. And, I like to get up in the morning, check my messages, and I like to get up because every day I'm Zooming with somebody different. Every day I'm talking to someone different. And it's amazing, the people in this community that like to help each other. It doesn't matter if we're financially tied together or not. Look how many people help us, each of us, that aren't financially tied together.
Yeah. And I think that's something that you've done that, I don't know, it just warms my heart that, you've started this group for people 50 and over, and we count on each other, and you never feel like, you're speaking just to 20-year-olds or anything.
Oh,
and I know that this group of women and men just love the fact that we have this safe place that you have created for all of us, all over the world, right?
Started, right? You know how I started that? It was because I was seeing so many people come in and they're excelling, past me in the business. And I thought, these young people, they know social media. They know everything. They don't struggle. But then I've seen people my age coming in and they were asking the same questions that I asked. So I thought, I went to Mike and Darren and I said to them, do you mind if I start a 50+ group? And Mike said, please do. Right. And that's how the 50+ got started, to make a group of all of us over the age of 50 so that we can ask questions and get an answer. Because sometimes you ask the young people a question and they're so tech savvy their answer is like, what? Like,
Yeah.
for me, it was like, what?
What
Now
is
I got to learn what that means now, right? And so, it was, and people would ask me, what do I do here with this? And I'd say, I don't have a clue. But you know what? Let's Zoom and let's figure it out. And that's how I learned the business too, but was by helping somebody else, because we work together.
And I think the group is even more than that. For me, I think that when I decided last year, like 2024, that I wanted to grow my leadership skills.
Yes.
So, I went to you a couple of times and I said, can I present? Can I do this, with the group? And I think it really helped me in
and I think it brings people out too, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's more than just learning tech stuff.
Yes.
And it's connections too. There's some really strong connections that I've created within that group too, which
great friends, right?
Such a huge difference. So
and from all over the world, like I was just on a interview yesterday, a lady in Africa that was at our group in November.
Oh, yes.
And she is bringing. She said there probably will be at least 10 or maybe 20 of them coming from Africa this year.
Seriously,
yes. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be much bigger than next year, I bet.
I know, right?
It's going to be awesome. Oh no, I was really, really so impressed by that one. It really worked out well. And I feel like it's something that you've been doing for what, 4 years now, or was that your third?
This will be the 5th annual meetup.
Okay.
Coming up. This will be the 5th annual coming up.
It's been growing.
But we had to stop during COVID, so.
Yes, of course.
Right?
Well, I mean, nobody could do anything anyway.
No.
I used to be in the meetings industry, and what a devastation that was for that. So many industries.
Yeah.
But those are the people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So how do you balance, like, you've got your business, you've got your work with your volunteer work, you're not working full time. I mean, your business is your full-time work.
Yeah.
And you've got the meetups that you do. How are you balancing it all?
Well, I have a big whiteboard sitting right beside me here. I have my scheduler on my phone, but I also put everything on my whiteboard so that I can see exactly what it is that I need to do. And then I have my time slots. I have the time for myself too. Believe me, I have time for myself. I have time for, socializing with friends. I have so much time that I work, on my business. And I just, and just recently I started taking a macrame class. So it's just, I like to keep busy. I really like to keep busy, because I find I accomplish more. The busier I am, the more I accomplish.
Yeah.
And, I've had people say to me, oh, I'm just too busy right now to do the business. And I'll say, I love busy people. I love busy people, because you guys are the ones that come in, take your business serious, spend this short amount of time that you have to be able to do it, and you accomplish things. Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
things.
How that's the people who are really, showing some success, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. What are your goals and dreams for your business now? And I'm thinking in terms of the growth of your business, or where you want to go with it as a leader.
I want it to grow to the point that, well, God forbid, I plan on living to be 120. But anyways, if anything, I want to grow my business to the point. I have 6 children, 19 grandchildren, 11 great grandchildren. I want to be able to leave a legacy to my children and my grandchildren, right? So I want to grow my business to the point that when I do go to the other side, that my children have something that they can, do with their life that can better their life because of what I did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a burden on my children either. When I get to the point, if I can't look after myself, which I plan on being able to look after myself, but if I ever get to the point that I can't, I don't want to be a burden on my children. Right?
Yeah,
Seeing,
exactly.
yeah, I've
And
seen
then,
it happen in families, and it's not good. Right? And I
no,
know we all want to look after our parents when they're older. We all do. But you know what? How degrading is that to have your child do the things to you that you did with them as an infant, as a baby? And
you're
that's
better off
pretty
to have
degrading.
no
I don't
choice.
want my children doing that or my grandchildren doing that.
No, no. And they're not equipped for it. Let's face it.
No,
They're the
exactly.
nurses and so on that are equipped to do that
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
So, but I think when we talk about legacy, and
Yes.
I did a reel about this earlier in the week, but I was thinking about legacy, and it's not just leaving that, financial security or leaving enough so that there's no burden on our children, but we're also leaving sort of a sense of, anybody can be resilient. We
Exactly.
can, because we've all overcome many, many things, haven't we? And our
Yeah,
family know what we've overcome. We're
exactly.
leaving that knowledge and it's understanding that we can all grow even in our 60s. We
And
can all,
after I started this business, you knew that well, at the time, I guess I was going through chemo treatments and radiation and going
yeah,
through a lot of treatments. But when I started this business, it gave me a purpose. It gave me a reason to wake up in the morning and to make myself do
yeah,
things, right?
mhm,
Otherwise, you could lay in bed all day and feel sorry for yourself. Poor me, why me, right?
yeah, mhm,
But I had to get rid of all the fears in my life. And I had to start learning to live by faith, knowing I'm worthy.
mhm.
I
Yeah,
can do this, right?
mhm,
I can do this. I believe in myself. I believe in the business that I'm doing.
mhm.
And I believe that I can help other people. So, that gave me a purpose to work towards in my
Yeah,
getting up every morning and going to my computer and doing things. And yeah, I probably spent a lot more time at it then that I do now because um, I was couldn't get out of the house. I couldn't do anything. I was housebound or hospital bound, one or the other.
right.
I thought this is a perfect time, and everything happens for a reason. I don't think things happen by coincidence. I think everything is happens for a reason, and our life is planned. And I think that was part of mine that I had to do what I had to do, and I had the perfect time to do it to
Yeah,
get my business to the point that where it needed to be.
right. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Awesome. So we're going to wrap this up in a bit, but how about advice? What advice would you have for anyone who's listening to this? Um, and if they're sort of sitting on the fence going, I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know if this is the right time for me, all those doubts that come into people's minds when they're looking at something, they know they need something, but they have so many doubts, so many fears, so many things that are stopping them. What would be your advice for them?
Well, first of all, I have a little picture on my wall and it says, "Don't dig up in doubt what you planted in faith."
Oh,
And I love that saying. Yeah, don't dig up in doubt what you planted in faith. So, we all get up in the morning because we have faith that we're going to be alive the next day. We're going to breathe. We're going to be able to move on. But then we have that crazy little stinking thinking mind of ours that tells us, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. But we have to get rid of that. We have to get rid of all of those negative thoughts that are in our mind. And we have to say, like, we are worthy. We can do this, right? We have to stick to that because doubt in yourself will steal your dreams. And
Yes.
we are the only ones that can accomplish our own dreams. So why should we settle for less? Right? Like,
That's
why do we settle for less? People settle for less all their life because they think they're not worthy, or they think that, they can't do something, but they've never tried because they have fear and they have doubt. So those are the things that I had to work on to get rid of. I had to get rid of the fear that somebody's going to see me on the camera.
Mhm.
I had to believe that what I was doing was helping other people, which that wasn't hard to, see that was happening, right? Look at all the successful people, right? But we have to cherish ourselves first.
Yeah.
What is it that we want to change in our lives? And I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are. We all have something we want to change about ourselves in our lives, whether it is time to do more traveling with your spouse, especially at our age. If you have a spouse, you want to be together, you want to travel, you want to see the world, because, we were all raised the same way. You're raised, you go to school, you get a good education, you get a good job, you marry a rich man, and it's all the same thing. And then you live your dreams. And then you get to the age of, that I am, and they talk about golden years. And I think, golden years? What is golden about being older? Because unless your company, which very few companies today have good pension plans, it's a very small percentage of the world population that has a good pension plan, very small percentage. And so what is it you're going to do? You're going to live on what, 50% less than what you were living on before. And sometimes it's less than 50%. And so you can't afford to do anything. Those golden years, what's golden about it? You can't travel. You can't even go see your children when they're in other countries or on the other side of the country. You can't.
What's the purpose?
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? You're driving an old car because now you can't afford to buy a new car. And you're not going to get a loan because you're old, you're retired, I don't say we're old, but we're retired. You can't, do. So they're not going to give you a loan. You're not going to be able to get a mortgage unless you own your home. But if you have a mortgage already on your home when you retire, you're going to do good to pay the mortgage and the electrical bill and whatever other bills. There's not going to be any. They'll be lucky if you have enough for your groceries, right? So I see that in people every day. Why settle when you don't have to?
Yeah.
Right? And why? And for these people that are thinking of retirement, what do they have for a plan? Like, have they really sat down and looked at their finances and said, this is what I'm going to have coming in, and this is what I have going out? What do I have left for me?
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's nothing, right?
And you want to do more in your life than just read a bunch of books.
Exactly. Most people retire, and I've seen it happen year after year after year. People retire, they can't afford to do anything, so they sit in a rocking chair and wait to die. And many of them die very prematurely because they don't keep active.
Yeah, exactly. So fear and doubt are your dream stealers.
Dream stealers, big time. They steal your dreams. They steal your family.
Mm-hmm.
They steal your happiness. They steal your joy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They steal everything there is about your life. And why let it happen? I chose not to let it happen. And that's why I chose to live by faith, not fear. And faith in myself, faith in what I do, faith in God, faith in this business, and faith in all the business partners I have, right? You gotta have that faith. So to me, to tell these people, just check it out. There's a web page to go to. It doesn't cost anything. Register with your name and your email address. Check it out. Then if you want more information, we ask that you pay a small fee, and we'll send you more information. Then we're going to give you 30 days to check it all out.
Yeah.
if in those 30 days you watched all the videos and all the email information that we've sent to you in 30 days, and on day 29 you say, no, it's just not for me, we'll give you that 149 back. We don't want to keep it. So, don't think that you just have to jump into it with both feet. We want you to make sure this is something that you can do.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did. I checked it out really well. And I watched that information session over and over. I watched the live ones. We have live sessions twice a week. We have replays that you can watch, and I watched the lives, I don't know how many times. And I know they thought I was becoming a stalker on them. But anyways, it is what it is, because I wanted to make sure this is what I was going to do the rest of my life, because I do not like jumping jobs, right? I do not like jumping jobs, especially at my age. I don't want to be out there, trying to find work and stuff. I want to know that I've got something that can sustain me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Well, everyone, I want to thank Debra. Oh, I'm so glad we finally got this
Fine. Yeah, sorry.
And no, don't apologize. And it's been wonderful to be able to sort of let everybody sort of meet you, and because you're my heart, and I just love being around you and being a part of your team and everything. If you're watching this, you think, oh, I really, really want to find out more, just message us. We have 5 streams of income, and you'll see across the bottom, our system is automated. We have so much in there, and our training is amazing.
Yes.
We'll send you the free information. We'll get you hooked up for that little webinar. It's not little, sorry. Some of them are pretty long. And, but you can choose either the replay or the lives, and, just talk to us. We are so happy to bring in new members and spread the word about this amazing business that we have. It is so good. So, Debra, thank you. And I want to thank everyone who's watching this. And we will, oh, there's Kitty. We'll chat again soon.
Yes. Thank you.
There, we just got it.